Bereshit Rabbi Yadalad Vav. Rabbi Levi, or Levi says, Adam Agadol Ba'anakim, the great man among the giants. It's in the original context of the verse in Yehoshua, an explanation of the name Kiryat Arba. It says Arba is the greatest among the multiple giants. But Chazal take this as a reference to our forefather Abraham. Adam Agadol Ba'anakim Ze Abraham. Abraham was the greatest among the giants. Lama Koreyot Gadol. Why was he called great, and what consisted Abraham's distinctive greatness? Shahaya Royli Hibarot Kodam Adam Harishon. That it would have been fitting, Abraham was so great that he ought to have been created before the person we know as Adam Harishon. Abraham should have been Adam Harishon. That's how great he was. Ella and Abraham should have inaugurated human existence. The human story should have started with him because he was the greatest specimen, the exemplar paragon of what humanity ought to be. And so why not start with the best? And really, why not? Ella, Amar HaKadosh Baruch Hu, but rather God says, yeah, that makes sense, but I'm worried, he says. Shemei Yakalkel, what if I create Abraham first and he screws up? What if he fails? And then there'll be no one after Abraham will ever be able to make things right again. Because if Abraham failed right at the beginning, there'll be no hope. And the human story and this entire project of creation will be over right at the beginning. So Ella, rather, God says, this is what I think we should do. I'm going to create Adam Rishon first. He might succeed, he might fail, we'll see. And not a big deal if he fails. Because even if he does fail, because at least I know there's hope that Abraham, the exemplar of humanity, will be around to show up and make things right, even if things don't get off on the right foot. Strictly speaking, this reasoning does not strike me as making a ton of sense. Let's assume the Adam Rishon's probability of success is let's just say straight 50-50, and Abraham's chance of success is 80-20. So still, like the overall likelihood of success doesn't seem to change if you switch the order. It seems to me like the prospects of success and failure seem to be equivalent either way. If someone's better at probability theory and give me an explanation of how this would adjust the probabilities, please let me know. And not clear to me. What I think that Midrash is getting at, what Chazal want us to see, I think many of us, humans are tempted to a certain kind of moral and existential view of what human life is about. And I think if you found yourself affiliated with an Ivy League university, there's an especially high likelihood that you are at least tempted to think of your work and life this way. That we're tempted to think that what we need to do is to get everything right from the beginning, to achieve perfection, to get all of the conditions for success set up and in place and fixed so that nothing can go wrong, and then sustain that state of perfection, avoid mistakes and failure. It's like we get everything right, we get everything solid, and then we make sure nothing bad happens. We make sure we never fall, we never screw up, and nothing ever goes wrong. And life becomes a project of avoiding failure. And what Chazal is saying here is, if that's how you think about it, if that's what human life is, then the second you do fail, which you're going to, at some point you're going to fall down, you're going to slip, you're going to mess up. And once you do, if that's how you think about life, then the story will be over. Because if you think you need perfection from the beginning and that needs to be sustained, then as soon as you lose it, you're done. And God says, he's looking at the project of humanity and says, there's no way humanity can work that way. That will not give us success. What I need humanity to understand. And this consists Abraham's distinctive greatness and the greatness of the Jewish project and what it represents. Is that it's not about getting everything right from the beginning. It's about showing up in a broken world, in a place where things are not right. There's already been failure, and things are not as they should be. And the Abrahamic project is to show up and try to get things right, try to make things better. It's to embody the hope of humanity to do a little bit better, to try, even though we keep falling, to try to get back up and try to get things right again, at least try to get things moving in the right direction. And so long as that Abrahamic ideal exists, so long as the Jewish people, what they represent exists, that there's this call to being better and to making things right, then God says, then this project is worthwhile. Because yeah, there's going to be failure. They're gonna slip up. Humans are terrible. Like they just nothing ever works out, and like they're all over the place. But so long as they have the idea of Abraham, that someone can show up, and the Midrash uses the language of Machnitzim to Kenneth Leviat Shem L'Kul Kelet, and it makes sense to put a well-formed beam into a rotting house. It's falling down like that. That makes sense to you as long as you have the project of repair, of trying to make things better. Then the project is worthwhile, and so at least stands a chance of success. And this is Chazal's attempt and my little attempt to telegraph a message that what existence is. It's not we're never going to have our lives entirely in our control. We were born into worlds that we didn't create, and we're bandied about in crazy forces that we have no control over. And it's not our job to have control over them. It's not our job to make sure that we never screw up. But our job is to try as best we can to make things a little bit better, to try to get things right, to try to take responsibility for the broken world and the fallen world, and to try to get things moving in the right direction towards and in the light of our forefather Abraham, the greatest among the giants. We're going to have a wonderful Shabbos, and looking forward to connecting with you all soon.